Chunky by Yehudi Mercado, a first chapter Friday read aloud and author interview with the Word Nerd. After this video, check out the other graphic novel videos on my channel, like interview with author-illustrator of Cardboard Kingdom, Chad Sell, or a great conversation on making the case for graphic novels with Jarrett Lerner, or check out my son's favorite graphic novels in his best graphic novel top 10 list. Hi, my name is Amanda Ziba. Welcome to my channel, Learning with the Word Nerd, and another First Chapter Friday video. This week, we're going to do something we've never done before on the channel with a First Chapter Friday, and that is we are going to read a graphic novel. We're going to read the first chapter of Chunky by Yehudi Mercado. Now, I first found out about this book when my own sons, who are 9 and 11, fell in love with it, and they kept raving about it, so of course I had to read it, and then I fell in love with it, and now I'm sharing it with you. The author has also shared this first chapter online. So what I'm going to be able to do is read through and scroll so you'll be able to see the pictures and hear my voice reading the words all at the same time. It's going to be fantastic. Speaking of the author, we also have the lucky treat of chatting with him after we're done reading the first chapter. So make sure you stick around so you can hear his 5 answers to the questions I've sent his way and a little bit more about this story and also what's coming next from him. Let's dive in and read the blurb so you know what this book is about. Hudi needs to lose weight, according to his doctors. Concerned about the serious medical issue Hudi had when he was younger, his parents push him to try out for sports. Hudi would rather do anything else, but then he meets Chunky, his imaginary friend and mascot. Together they decide to give baseball a shot. As the only Mexican and Jewish kid in his neighborhood, Hudi has found the cheerleader he never had, as Chunky cheers for him even when Hudi barely makes the team. Baseball doesn't go well, unless getting hit by the ball counts, but the two friends have a great time drawing and making jokes. While Hudi's parents keep trying to find the right sport for him, Chunky encourages him to pursue his true love, comedy. But when Hudi's dad loses his job, it gets harder for Hudi to chart his own course, even with Chunky's guidance. Can Chunky help Hudi stay true to himself, or will this friendship strike out? Let's dive into the story and check out the first chapter. As we go through the story, there are going to be a few pages with no words on them at all. On these pages, I might insert some comments showing you what I'm paying attention to on the screen to help you better understand how to read a graphic novel even when there are no words. All right, are you ready? Here we go. Chunky by Yehudi Mercado. Chapter 1, Pregame. In these scenes, you're going to see Hudi, the main character, doing a bit of daydreaming. A win can make your day, but a loss can ruin your life. Hudi. Someone likes having seconds. Hudi? Hudi, are you paying attention? What? You're going to have to lose weight. I don't lose weight. I win weight. Chuckle, chuckle. In this top frame, you can see that they're at the hospital, at the medical center. There's the medical helicopter. I can't keep taking off work to take you to see specialists who keep telling me you're overweight. Rustle, rustle. He sees something there. It's in the bushes, but he can't quite tell what it is. And what's wrong with you? Making jokes like that to Dr. Plum? You can see he's looking out the back of his window. And something's looking back at him. What's Daddy doing home? You can see the car pull into the driveway, Dad look over his shoulder, and then climb down the ladder. Hudi's looking out the window, trying to hear his parents, but it says muffled Spanish, so he must not be able to hear what he says. Then he looks down at his stomach and slunks into the house. Tenemos que hacer algo al respecto. Hablaré con él. Hudi's walking into his house, and he goes into his sister's rooms. Hey, you want to play? Why are you always at the doctor? What's wrong with you? Nothing. Stop playing with my Barbies. But my Indiana Jones toy is one of those tall ones. Don't play with my Barbie dolls! Okay. Sulk, sulk, sulk. As Hudi walks into his room, you can take in lots of details about some things that he might be interested in based on the posters on the wall. Maybe not quite such a tidy kid. You can see his dresser drawers are open and clothes are hanging out. He picks up 2 dolls. See? I can have my own fun without Winnie and Yoni. Live from New York, it's Saturday night. He reaches for some colors. He's drawing something. Scribble, scribble, scribble. On this page, Hudi looks at his drawing, and then he looks up at the creature in his room. From the drawing to the creature. And then again, hey, I've seen you before. Are you supposed to be like my imaginary friend or something? Think of me more like an imaginary mascot. Mascot, huh? Okay. You know, a normal kid would take a little more convincing. It's a good thing you're not normal. Is it? I'm chunky. Come on, you're not that big. No, my name is Chunky. I know, I was just kidding. Hey, you're funny. But you can call me Hudi. Ha, I'm your biggest fan. Go, Hudi, go. Hudi, stop jumping and come down. Daddy and I want to talk to you. I'm guessing it's like normal imaginary friend rules where no one else can see you? Yeah, I can make faces at you and no one will see how silly I look. Don't plop on the couch. You'll break the tuna can. Should we begin? Am I in trouble? No, not at all. Because of your health issues, it is important that you watch your weight. That's the good thing about being fat. You can watch your weight from any angle. Ha 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 ha. Mommy and I want to sign you up for sports. Comedy sports? What's comedy sports? Never mind. Don't you have to be athletic to be an athlete? I was never the biggest player. My coaches told me many times that I was too small for the team and that I would never be as good as my brother, but that's what made me try even harder. These are the different leagues we can sign you up for. But you guys know that anytime I try physical activity, I wind up twisting my ankle or breaking my pinky. Pick one and we'll see how it goes. Let's play baseball, baseball, baseball. Yeah, baseball. Babe Ruth was pretty fat and he was good at baseball. Yay! You're going to have to clear some room off for all the trophies that I'm going to win. All right, readers, we are in for a real treat today because we are with the author, Yehudi Mercado, author of Chunky and many other books, and we are going to ask him some questions. So thank you so much for being here today with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is very exciting.
Yeah, we're pumped too. I said in the intro to the book that my sons introduced me to this book, and so they were very excited when they found out I was going to get to talk with you.
That's awesome.
My first question is, can you tell us what was the spark or the story seedling that grew into this book of Chunky?
Yeah, I had always, my books all before this were more fantastical and sci-fi. So I was always dealing with, robots and lasers and big over-the-top events. And, I was been thinking about doing something about my childhood in Houston and having a protagonist with health problems. I thought that'd be interesting. But then I went to dinner one night with Raina Telgemeier after New York Comic Con, and she's the queen of all comics.
Yes, yes.
And we started talking, and she really encouraged me to do a memoir, graphic novel memoir of my childhood and my health problems, because there wasn't anything like that for boys in that space. There's plenty for girls, but not much about body positivity and emotions and feelings for boys. So, and I always wanted to do sort of a jokey version of a sports story where the main character is terrible at sports, but somehow wins in the end. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that there were so many things that all came together in that story. And like it can be appealing to so many people in so many different ways. And I love that Hudi in the book has multiple areas of interest. So
Yeah.
good work. Good work.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your creation process? What comes first for you? You know, graphic novels, so much pictures and words and like their relationship together. What comes first for you, the pictures or the words when you're starting a new story?
I like to start by sort of like loosely sketching like what I would picture the cover to be, because the cover sort of should encapsulate like everything about the book, like all in one shot. So I usually like mock up a cover for myself. And then from that, I'll outline the story. So like chapter by chapter, like what are the big events? What is the emotional arc? And, you know, I'll always have like little jokes and gags in mind on that process. And then I write it as a screenplay first.
Okay.
And then, so I have like it's readable. It's got like stage direction and action. And then from that, I then start like doing the thumbnail sketches and like laying out the whole book. And I do everything on the computer. It's all digital.
Okay.
So I'm able to like, copy and paste all the dialogue from the, screenplay document into this program I use. And so basically I can like lay out the book pretty quickly. So you can sort of like read it and get a good idea of like, if like too much is happening in the first chapter and I need to spread it out more. So I can like get it up on its legs pretty quickly. And then once I lock that to all the thumbnails and the page count, then it's the arduous process of like inking and coloring. And
yeah. That is so interesting. You're the first person that I've ever talked to who says they do the cover first, because usually that's one of the last steps in the process. And usually the story creator doesn't have a whole lot of say in that, so that to me is fascinating. Are all of your books graphic novels?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So far. Yeah. Yeah.
What has drawn you to that specific format, or what do you love about graphic novels? Why do you think all of your stories end up in that format so far?
Mainly because I can draw. So like I feel like, if I couldn't draw, maybe I would like attempt more prose, kids books and YA books. But I don't know, I just love cartoons and I love, cartooning. All the stuff I read growing up, it was comic, superhero comics, but then it was mainly like Calvin and Hobbes and like Garfield and like Far Side, like more of the comedic, comics is what I grew up with. So like really trying to capture that kind of feeling was what I was going for. Yeah.
Good. Well, they're all the rage right now. My kids don't want to read anything else. So it's a perfect time to be a graphic novelist. And this is actually a really good segue into my next question, which is about all the different avenues your art has taken. I was reading your bio and it was talking about all these projects that you're working on. Some are books, some are screen, things, some are like, it's all over. And so how do you as a person manage all of those projects? But also if you were talking to a kid who has said, I'm good at this and I'm good at that, like, I don't know which path I want to follow. What advice would you give to them about, having a couple of options to pursue?
Yeah, when I come up with an idea, I tend to not like think of it as just a book or just a movie, I also worked in video games, so like I even think of properties that could be anything. Because growing up, it's like, there was a Spider-Man comic book, but there was also the animated series, and then the toys and like stuff like that. Like I feel like any good idea can be like multiple things. So, but for kids, I always tell them like, start with a small project. Like start with like a 4-page or 6-page like comic or prose like short story. Start small and finish it, and then immediately move on to your next project. That's what I always tell kids, because it's like you can get kind of stuck in your head about like one idea, trying to make it perfect, and it winds up being like this 300-page epic. But it's good to like have that sense of completion, because then you're going to want to chase that feeling of having, successfully completed a project, and you're going to need that momentum for your next project.
Absolutely. And then like you get through the whole process. Like I know with some young writers I work, they like get stuck in, they like start a story, they're so excited, and then they get stuck in the middle, and then they leave that, and then they go back to, they go to another project. And if you do short little projects, like you said, you can get all the way around to the end and have experience with the whole process. Very smart. Very smart. I also like the idea of not like pigeonholing yourself into like, I am an author, I am an illustrator, I am a video game designer. Like we just, we think of ourselves as creators instead of a particular title. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, the number one question my kids wanted me to ask you is, will there be a Chunky number 2?
Yes. That is what I'm furiously working on right now.
Great. Can you give us any sneak peeks or insight or ideas about what he's going to do in the next book?
Yeah. So, book 1 was all about like, him finding his way and finding what he was good at, being funny, being in theater, embracing that over sports. So book 2 is, it sort of explores my childhood problems with getting in trouble a lot at school, because I was a funny kid. So then, of course, that like, put a spotlight on me. Mm-hmm. And so I spent a lot of time in detention, like, even though I was a good kid, like I never like got in fights or like, I was just sort of like, class clown and sarcastic. And so like that, wound me up in a lot of detention. So it focuses on that. And then it also goes to summer camp. So it's called Chunky Goes to Camp.
Oh, fun.
And it's about my time, like, it starts the book with me, getting in trouble in school. And then it feels like I'm being sent to camp as like punishment. Mm-hmm. But then at camp is where I finally meet like people exactly like me. So I went to a Jewish summer camp in Waco, Texas as a kid. And then I met one of my best friends. His name is Pepe Guzman, who was another Latino Jew. And I was like, wow, like, this is amazing. This is like meeting my soulmate. So it goes into, meeting Pepe and becoming friends with Pepe. And then Pepe is the only other kid who is able to see Chunky. So it's like this magical moment where he can see my imaginary mascot.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that sounds amazing. Do you have a release date at all for that?
It's slated for June, like this. June next summer.
Yeah. So fun. That will definitely be on our list to pick up as soon as possible.
Yeah. Awesome.
If readers want to connect with you more or find out more about you, where's the best place for them to do that?
Usually Instagram is best. So I'm at Super Mercado Comics on Instagram. And that's usually when I post some stuff and talk about what's next.
Awesome. Well, I will be sure to put that link in the description box for people to be able to follow. But thank you so much for chatting with us today. And we can't wait to read more of what you create.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
To continue reading Chunky by Yehudi Mercado, check out a copy from your school library, purchase it from your local indie bookstore, or if you can't find it there, get it from the link in the description box. Then check out the other titles on this First Chapter Friday playlist. There's lots of great ones, and many of them include author interviews, just like this one. And don't forget, I've got these other great graphic novel videos waiting for you. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And I hopefully will see you back here again next week for another First Chapter Friday video. Happy reading!